In step 2 of the series, we're going to be talking about how to prepare your pulp to make handmade paper. You do not have to have a shredder for this step, it just saves a little bit of time. If you do not have a shredder to use, just make sure that you are ripping or cutting the paper into smaller pieces. Gather materials such as junk mail, printer paper, supermarket ads, brown grocery bags, napkins, egg cartons, or even old clothes will work. I would suggest experimenting with different materials because each one will give a different texture and you never know which one may end up being your favorite. Although this is not the original way, but the easiest way of dispersing the fibers is by using a regular old kitchen blender. Start off by putting small amounts of the paper into the blender with a little bit of water and blend it up a few seconds. If you want to make a different color of paper, the easiest way to do that is of course by using food coloring, construction paper, or in this case I use colored gift tissue paper. You're going to want to adjust the paper to water ratio as needed so that the mixture can circulate without splashing all over the place or overloading the blender motor. Continue blending the mixture until the fibers are fully separated and the pulp mixture is the consistency of a thick soup. Keep track of how much water and paper you use and how long you blend it for so you can repeat the same for each batch without having to worry about it. You can always add more paper and water as you go to get to this consistency. Whatever you choose to use as your vat, have it nearby so you can pour your blended mixture directly into your vat. Mix in just a little bit of water and then continue on to making another batch. I would start off by making 2 to 3 batches of pulp for your first round of paper. If you plan on using your paper for writing or inks, this would be the time you would want to size your paper. Sizing paper is not the same thing as the size of paper. Sizing your paper alters the way water and ink penetrate through the paper. The most common way for hobby handmade papers is to use a couple teaspoons of liquid starch to your pulp mixture before you pull your sheets. Or you can paint a layer of liquid starch over your finished pieces of paper after they have dried. Before pulling your sheets, place a stack of slightly damp felt squares or kitchen towels beside your vat. Stir the vat just a little to disperse the fibers. Place your decal on top of your mold and hold them together by firmly squeezing the sides. Dip the decal and mold edge first into the pulp. It is very easy to manipulate the thickness of the paper by adjusting how much pulp you allow into the mold and decal. Hold it level, allowing the pulp to spread evenly across, and then lift it out of the water in a smooth single motion. Pause for a moment over the vat to allow the water to drain out. Take a sponge and place it under the mold, allowing it to soak up any excess water, and squeeze the water into the vat. Do this as many times necessary until you're not getting any more water. Then lift the decal off of the frame and you are now ready to cooch and press the sheets. Cooching is how you get the wet sheet off of the mold. Turn the mold over gently and press it onto the damp cloth. If a lot of water oozes through the mesh, take your sponge and blot off any excess water. Holding the cloth down, slowly lift the edge of the mold up. I found it easier to continue pressing the sponge against the mesh. The sheet should remain stuck to the cloth and the mold should come away clean. If you plan on making more, simply add another damp cloth on top and you can keep pulling sheets from the same vat full of pulp. When the sheets start to get thin, just add more pulp. Don't worry if you make a mistake or the sheet tears apart when you cooch it. Just scoop the pulp back into the vat and try again. When you are finished cooching all your sheets, it is time to press them. This can be done with a paper press or by adding a cutting board on top and adding as much weight as you can on top of it. You'll want to keep them pressed until there is no more water oozing from the pile. The sheets will be stuck to their cloths, so you can now hang them up to dry. As they begin to dry, they may get wrinkly. This is perfectly normal. Just use a steam iron to smooth them back out, and then gently peel it from the cloth and your paper is ready to use. Stay tuned for my next video on how to turn your scrap paper into one-of-a-kind unique handmade paper using essential oils, string, flowers, leaves, and even seeds from your garden.